In this unit, we're going to focus on integration, specifically how supply management integrates internally across the organization and externally with suppliers and other stakeholders to create competitive advantage. Historically, purchasing was seen as a transactional function, issuing purchase orders and negotiating price. Today, supply management plays a strategic role in shaping firm performance. Integration is what allows supply management to move from a cost-focused support function to a capability-building driver of performance. Throughout this lecture, I want you to keep one core question in mind. How does integration change what supply management is capable of doing for the firm? By the end of this unit, you should be able to do three things. First, you should understand why integration matters for firm performance and how supply management plays a central role in both internal and external integration. Second, you should understand how cross-functional teams enable integration, not just structurally, but behaviorally and strategically. Third, you should understand how supply management collaborates with design, engineering, and suppliers to support new product and service development. These learning objectives build from why integration matters, to how it happens, to where it delivers the most strategic value. Supply integration is about professionally managing suppliers while also developing close working relationships with internal customers, such as engineering, operations, marketing, and finance. The key theme here is critical. Supply management must be closely integrated with both internal and external functions in order to develop capabilities that improve competitive performance. Notice that integration is not just about coordination, it's about capability development. When supply management is integrated, the firm becomes better at innovation, cost management, speed, quality, and risk mitigation. Because integration is relationship-driven, relationship management skills are essential. Effective supply managers must act ethically, listen carefully, and communicate clearly. They must be able to solve problems creatively and sustain long-term relationships. These skills are not soft in the sense of being optional. They are strategic enablers. Poor relationships create friction, while strong relationships accelerate execution. Successful relationships depend on high-quality inputs. These include information about markets, internal requirements, and functional plans, but also deep knowledge of products, services, processes, and technologies. Suppliers often bring perspectives that internal teams lack, especially regarding manufacturability, scalability, and cost structures. When leveraged correctly, these inputs generate business advantages, including economies of scale, productivity gains, and improved decision quality. Integration does not happen by accident. It must be designed. Process-focused organizational structures help ensure consistency. Co-location of suppliers and customers encourages informal problem-solving. Formal mechanisms like buyer councils, steering committees, and cross-functional teams provide governance and alignment. Technology also plays a role. Video conferencing, shared platforms, and integrated performance measures help coordinate across boundaries. The following figure presents a breakdown of the various ways different departments integrate with supply chain management. However, we will discuss in more detail how each of these areas integrate with supply chain for value management. Operations has traditionally had the closest relationship with supply management. These functions often work side by side in areas such as global operations strategy and sales and operations planning, or S&OP. Co-location is common because rapid communication and shared decision-making are essential when managing flow, capacity, and delivery performance. Integration with engineering is critical for speed and innovation. Embedding buyers within engineering teams allows supply management to influence design decisions early, when costs and risks are still flexible. Supply management also supports engineering by identifying new technologies, qualifying suppliers, and managing quality risks during product development. This collaboration shortens development cycles and reduces downstream problems. Accounting and finance partnerships are both tactical and strategic. Tactically, these functions work together on purchase orders, invoices, and reconciliations. Strategically, they collaborate on cost reduction initiatives and capital investment decisions. Finance also plays a critical role in validating savings, supporting make or buy decisions, and mitigating supply chain fraud. Marketing and sales bring the voice of the customer into the supply chain. They provide forecasts, new product ideas, and customer insights that shape sourcing and production decisions. Legal ensures compliance through managing intellectual property, product liability, supplier contracts, and antitrust concerns. Without legal integration, supplier relationships expose firms to significant risk. Integration also extends to environmental and social responsibility. Supply management collaborates on sustainability initiatives, ISO 14000 compliance, hazardous material handling, health and safety, and social responsibility. These concerns are no longer optional. They are strategic expectations from regulators, customers, and communities. Supply chain management departments often act as the face of the organization to its supply base. It serves as a liaison across materials, services, information, and technology, interacting not only with suppliers, but also governments and local communities. External integration determines how effectively the firm accesses innovation, manages risk, and maintains legitimacy. This figure compares traditional buyer-supplier relationships with collaborative buyer-supplier relationships across several key dimensions. Under the traditional approach, buyers rely on multiple suppliers and often play them against one another. In contrast, the collaborative approach emphasizes working with one or a few preferred suppliers for each major item. When it comes to cost sharing, the traditional approach allows the buyer to capture all cost savings, which can lead suppliers to hide potential savings. In the collaborative approach, benefits are shared more equitably between the buyer and the supplier. For joint improvement efforts, traditional relationships involve little or no collaboration, while collaborative relationships emphasize joint improvement driven by mutual interdependence. In terms of dispute resolution, disputes in traditional relationships are resolved unilaterally by the buyer. In collaborative relationships, formal conflict resolution mechanisms are in place. Communication also differs significantly. Traditional relationships involve minimal or one-way information exchange, whereas collaborative relationships are characterized by open and complete information sharing. With respect to marketplace adjustments, traditional approaches place responsibility on the buyer to respond to changing conditions. Collaborative approaches involve buyers and sellers working together to adapt to marketplace changes. Finally, quality is handled differently. In traditional relationships, quality is inspected at receipt. In collaborative relationships, quality is designed into the product, and the supplier's quality system is verified and certified. Overall, you can see a shift from transactional, buyer-controlled relationships toward more integrated and cooperative buyer-supplier partnerships. Closer relationships offer advantages such as early supplier involvement, shared investment, joint innovation, and risk sharing. However, they also introduce risks, including intellectual property exposure, legal issues, and resistance to change. Effective collaboration requires managing both sides intentionally. Successful supplier relationships start with a compelling business case. This includes clear outcomes, realistic timelines, mutual benefits, and measurable success criteria. Soft benefits, like learning and trust, must also be considered and translated into believable metrics. Before changing external relationships, firms must address internal alignment. Functional silos and conflicting incentives undermine supplier integration. Supply management initially serves as the primary contact, then gradually transitions into a facilitation role as relationships mature. Cross-functional sourcing teams include multiple internal functions and often suppliers. They work on both specific tasks like supplier selection, product design, as well as more general tasks including cost reduction, quality improvement, and sustainability initiatives. These teams are central to effective integration. In terms of the benefits of cross-functional teams reduce cycle time, increase innovation, improve communication, and enhance problem-solving. They create joint ownership of decisions and allow firms to realize synergies across functions. However, teams are not automatically effective. They can suffer from process loss, poor decision-making, groupthink, and artificial consensus. Team design and leadership matter. Cross-functional teams are most valuable when decisions are complex, strategic, and impactful. Examples include new product development, facility location, and strategic sourcing. If no single function has sufficient expertise, a CFT is essential. Let's discuss, for example, integrating sourcing teams into new product development. Integrating sourcing teams into new product development involves including suppliers early in the process rather than waiting until designs are finalized. Suppliers contribute design assistance and support the development of material specifications, helping ensure that product requirements align with what can be realistically produced. Early evaluation of supplier capabilities allows firms to assess whether suppliers can meet quality, cost, and performance expectations before significant commitments are made. This approach also considers both existing technologies that suppliers currently use and future technologies that may support innovation and long-term competitiveness, helping align product design decisions with supply capabilities and technological potential. Joint improvement teams focus on cost reduction, quality improvement, delivery performance, and process efficiency. These teams institutionalize continuous improvement. Suppliers contribute ideas for both product and process improvement by bringing different expertise and perspectives that expand the range and volume of potential innovations. To manage these ideas effectively, organizations establish formal review systems to evaluate supplier proposals based on feasibility, required resources, and the potential for cost savings or performance improvement. This evaluation process supports clear go/no-go decisions and ensures timely feedback is provided to suppliers. In addition, suppliers are included in order fulfillment improvement efforts, allowing their insights to support ongoing enhancements in delivery efficiency and overall supply chain performance. Let's close this unit by explicitly revisiting each of our learning objectives and tying together the key ideas you should now understand. For learning, Objective 1, by now you should clearly see that integration is not simply about coordination or communication. It is about building organizational capabilities that directly influence performance. We discussed how firms operate in complex global environments where no single function can succeed independently. Integration allows information, knowledge, and resources to flow across functional and organizational boundaries, reducing friction, improving decision quality, and increasing responsiveness. When firms are well integrated, they are better positioned to manage cost, quality, speed, innovation, risk, and sustainability simultaneously, rather than trading one off against another. Supply management plays a central role in this integration. Internally, supply management connects operations, engineering, finance, marketing, legal, and environmental functions by aligning sourcing decisions with broader organizational goals. Externally, supply management serves as the firm's primary interface with suppliers, governments, and local communities, managing not just transactions, but long-term relationships and expectations. In short, integration matters because it transforms supply management from a transactional cost control function into a strategic driver of competitive advantage. The second objective focused on how integration actually happens in practice, and cross-functional teams are one of the most important mechanisms. We examined how cross-functional sourcing teams bring together individuals from supply management, engineering, operations, finance, marketing, and sometimes suppliers themselves. These teams allow diverse expertise and perspectives to be applied to complex decisions such as supplier selection, product design, cost reduction, quality improvement, and sustainability initiatives. You should now understand that cross-functional teams help break down functional silos, improve communication, and create joint ownership of decisions. When designed and led effectively, they reduce cycle time, enhance innovation, and improve overall decision quality. At the same time, we also acknowledge that teams are not automatically effective. Poor leadership, unclear goals, groupthink, and artificial consensus can undermine outcomes. This is why organizations must carefully consider when to form cross-functional teams, select the right team members and leaders, establish clear performance goals, and ensure executive support and appropriate incentives. Ultimately, cross-functional teams are a key organizational capability that enables integration when used deliberately and thoughtfully. The third learning objective emphasized where integration creates some of its greatest value: new product and service development. You should now understand how early supplier involvement allows supply management to work closely with design and engineering to influence product outcomes before costs and risks become locked in. Suppliers contribute valuable knowledge related to materials, manufacturing processes, technology capabilities, and scalability that internal teams may not fully possess. We examined how formal processes such as early supplier selection, supplier risk assessment, technology sharing, and buyer-supplier improvement teams support successful integration. These practices help firms evaluate supplier capabilities, manage uncertainty, and align technical and strategic objectives across organizational boundaries. Overall, you should now recognize that effective collaboration among supply management, engineering, and suppliers is not incidental. It is a deliberate strategy that enables faster development, better quality, lower cost, and more innovative products and services. Taken together, these learning objectives reinforce a single core idea. Integration is a strategic capability. Firms that invest in internal alignment, cross-functional collaboration, and deep supplier relationships are better equipped to compete in dynamic, global markets. Supply management sits at the center of this capability, not as a support function, but as a strategic integrator.